I've been a full-time trader for almost a year now, and I've done that entirely just off of one tool, the Fib. In this video, I'm going to explain what the Fib is, how you guys can use it, how you can apply it to your chart, the settings I use, and also some examples of some good trades I've taken. So I have two main confidences when I trade, and that is the Fib and the ATR. As you guys know, I only trade strong daily levels, so I use the ATR and the Fib as a method of confirmation for those levels. So let's get into it. What is the Fib? This is what the Fib is here. You most likely would have seen it already because a lot of people use it. You can use it for loads of different things. You can use it as a target for your trades that you're already in. You can use it as like a support and resistance. You can use it for confirmation for a certain point of interest you're looking at. To find it, you just need to go on the left over here onto the toolbar, and the third one down, just click it and you'll see Fib retracement. To draw the Fib, it requires 2 clicks, one at the high or the low, and then you tap it again when you get to the other high or low, which is down here. So let's quickly go over the settings and I'll show you guys how to make yours look a little bit nicer compared to the rainbow that it starts off with. So first of all, you want to turn the trend line off. That's just this thing here. You don't really need that. When it comes to the levels, these are the levels you need. So pause the video right here and copy these levels. And I'll show you why in a minute, why these levels are actually important. You can't just go and put, 0.435 and expect it to work. These levels are here for a reason. And I color mine the same apart from the 618. I put that in orange because the 618 is a very, very strong level. It's a lot more significant compared to the others. Then you want to scroll down. You want to turn off the background because if you keep the background on, it'll look like this. And yours will most likely look like that. So turn that off. And then when it comes to levels, you don't really need the percents. It's a little bit messier, so I just put the values just like that. And that's it for the settings. If you're interested in why we use these numbers and where they came from, this is basically the mathematics behind it. And if you want to go even deeper into learning about Fibonacci, this is the book I read. It is very good. I highly recommend. So how do you actually use the Fib? The Fib can be used in an uptrend or a downtrend. When price is consolidating, ranging just side to side like this, it's pretty difficult to use. You want price to create impulse moves up and nice retracements on the way down. So you're looking for a price action like this, where multiple levels are created along the move up. So this is a perfect example. As you can see, price is in a nice strong uptrend and it's created a decent level for us. And then again, price is in a nice strong downtrend, and again it's created a level. I'll explain why those levels are actually important in a minute. To draw the Fib, you want to draw it with the trend. So if price is in an uptrend, you want to draw it from the low to the high, just like this, from the low all the way, drag it to the high, and you want to draw it to the very wick, not the candle body, from the wick to the wick, and vice versa. If price is in a downtrend, you draw it with the move down. So you're drawing it from the high up here, following the move down to the low. And now what we're looking for is for price to come down and retrace back into one of these levels, and then we'll see a bounce off of one of these levels just like this to any of one of these and a bounce. And again, for the downtrend, we're looking for sells. So because we drew a sell Fib, we're looking for sell position. So we're waiting for price to retrace up a little bit and then continue and sell off. And again, retrace into one of these levels and then we'll see a sell off. You only enter buys on the buy Fibs and you only enter sells on the sell Fibs. So I know your next question is going to be, right, okay, well, which one do I actually enter a buy off? Because there's 4 levels here. Which one do I go for? So this is where we combine it with levels and we use the Fib as a method of confirmation. So as you can see, we have a buy level here, really nice level, and you technically have that little break and retest level, but we'll ignore that one for now. The main levels we're looking at are unmitigated levels that haven't been broken yet. And if you're still unsure on that, go to the previous video that I made on how to identify strong daily levels, and that goes through everything. But for example, this level hasn't been broken, and again, this level hasn't been broken. So now what you do is, you draw your Fib of the move up, and as you can see, the 61 Fib doesn't line up exactly, but it lines up. So this is the level we'd be waiting for buys. We'd wait for price to come down. We're not bothered about entering buys from these ones. We're waiting for price to come down to this one, the 61, with the level, and then we'd enter buys. But see how this one doesn't really line up with a level? It's sort of in between both. This means it's invalid, so you just wouldn't enter it at all. If the Fib doesn't line up, then we'd move to ATR and see if the ATR lines up. I'll explain that in the next video. So you've got to be really careful when drawing the Fib because it is very, very, very subjective. If you draw it wrong, your trade is going to be wrong. If you draw it inaccurate, that means you're going to get inaccurate entries and inaccurate trades. And on top of that, a lot of your Fibs are actually right. You can draw longer term Fibs, you can draw shorter term Fibs. It doesn't matter as long as you draw them correctly. So for example, here, we can actually draw multiple Fibs because as you can see, there's multiple buy levels and there's multiple sell levels. Now remember, we can't just draw one Fib for all these levels. We have to draw a sell Fib for the sell levels and a buy Fib for the buy levels. So how do you draw the buy Fib? Well, you draw it from the very low to the very high. just like that. And do you see any of our levels lining up? Yes, we have the 61 with this buy level, and it currently hasn't been broken. Whereas this one, it sort of lines up, but it's already been broken, so it's invalid now. And then we also have these sell levels up here. So what would you do here? You draw the fib from the very high to the low, because this is a sell fib. And do we see any of that line up? Again, yes, we do. We have this sell level here lining up with a 50 fib. So this is a valid sell, and then this one is also a valid buy. And these are two completely valid fibs. So speaking of it being valid, when does a fib become invalid? So the 61 fib is known as the golden ratio, the golden pocket, the golden number. It's very, very strong in the world of mathematics and literally everything. So when price breaks past that 61, that fib becomes insignificant, because if price can't even respect the 61, then it's not going to respect the rest of the fib. So for example, here's the 61 here. If price respected this fib is still completely valid. You can use it again if you want. But instead, if price, respected it a little bit and then broke through, this fib is now invalid. And we don't enter buys and sells off the 0 and 1. These are just drawing points. So once it does break below here, there is no buy levels left. All of our buy levels have already been broken. So this fib is useless now. So what would you do? You'd then delete this, and instead you'd reverse it. You'd now draw the sell fib, just like that. So now what would you do? Well, you delete the buy fib because it's completely invalid, and you just draw the new one, the sell fib. So you draw it from the high all the way to the new low that was formed. And as you can see, this has changed. Now the 61 lines up with this level. Let's say price continues down and creates a new low. What do you do now with the fib? Well, you just update it and draw it to the new low, just like that. But as you can see, these levels no longer line up with the fib, and that's what it is. So now you can't take these trades unless, again, we go to the ATR then. So let's say, price reverses, it respects some of these levels and it carries on, respects the 61. So, this fib is still in use technically because it's respected to 61. If it comes back up, we could maybe take another trade. But then if it broke, what would you do? Again, you just delete the fib and now draw the new one of the move up. Just like that. And you just do it again and again, delete it, draw the buy fib, delete it, draw the sell fib, and so on. And also with the fib, let's say we draw this one, and there we go. The 50 and the 61 line up as valid buy levels, just like that and like that. If price was to come down and break through one of our levels, then this increases the chances of this level working even more. So look at it as percentages. Let's say each one of these has a 25% chance of working, okay? So each one, 25. Now price breaks through this one and it completely fails. Now this cancels out, and these now have a 33% chance of working, every single one of them. And again, let's say this one breaks as well. Now these two have a 50% chance of working. So if we see a break of this level, the chance of this giving a pullback is even higher. That's just the basics of levels. And that is normally known as a backup level. So every time you take a trade, you'll usually have a backup level just above or below that. So how can you approach this? Well, you could either enter half risk. Let's say you're risking 2% per trade. You could just enter 1% risk on this buy and 1% risk on this buy and spread your risk across two trades. Or if you're a degen, you can go just, normal trade, normal risk. And if it fails, you can enter this one and go for that one. But then obviously you're entering double the risk. Or if you want to play it safe, just wait for the lower one, because obviously this has a higher chance of giving a pullback if this one fails, and just go normal risk on this one. So now let's go over some real examples of some trades I've taken using the fib. Now this one was absolutely beautiful. It was respected perfectly. So let's start off with the levels. We have these ones here, and of course we have these buy levels, but I'm not really looking at those. I'm concentrating on these sell levels. Now we draw the fib of the move down from the very high, from the very wick to this low, again to the very wick. And as you can see, this one lines up nicely. This one doesn't line up, and neither does this one. So these two are a no. Now this one is completely valid. And as you can see, it worked really nicely, tapped into it perfect, and we saw a decent move down. Now going over entries regarding the fib, it is very dependent on where the fib is. Now when actually drawing your fib, sometimes you'll see that the fib is, let's say the 61, doesn't actually line up with price, but is very close. Now I'm looking for it to line up within 15 pips maximum. So we'd measure it, measure the gap, and have a look. This is only 7, so this is completely valid. Now why am I looking for 15 pips max? So let's say we up it, and it's all the way up here, because sometimes, prices can move very fast, like GJ, GN, some of your levels you may be looking at. Let's say this is technically the entire level, this daily wick. This is level. This alone, this is only Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, and it's 26 pips. Some of them you may be looking at like 80 pips. So let's say the fib is above. If you were looking for entries, right, let's say you had a pretty conservative entry and you were just entering around the middle of the zone. See how your stop loss is just above the fib. You have almost no slippage above that fib. So let's say price does want to come to your level and it pushes higher and goes to the fib. There's a high chance you're going to get stopped out, which is why I'm looking for a maximum of 15 pips. So even if it is above, you can guarantee a safe entry by entering a little bit higher, and then you've got more slippage or leeway, drawdown, whatever you want to call it. Basically, I'm saying slippage is like the area above our level, like playroom. So, you know, price can mess about and, you know, we're safe and it's not going to hit stop loss. So if it's within 15 pips, then we still have, you know, a decent amount above the fib. But when we do see a gap, most of the time, I'll make sure I get a safer-ish entry. So then we do have that spare room above the fib. And it can be the same vice versa when like the fib is deep into your level. So when I'm saying in the level and out the level, I'm basically saying, this is our level. I wouldn't enter outside of the level. I would not enter above and I would not enter below. I would enter within the level always. But depending on where the fib is, the ATR, maybe alignment, or if there's news, I'll get a safer or a riskier entry. So for example, let's say the fib lines up and it's, you know, technically lines up with the level, but it's all the way at the low. What would I do here? I wouldn't just enter as normal because, you know, there's a high chance, you know, price could come, tap our fib level, technically tap the level as well, and make the move. So you've got multiple options. Yes, if you want, you can enter just as normal, but then you need to make sure that price doesn't do exactly what we just said. It doesn't come to the fib, respect the fib, you don't see it because you're not at your charts, and then it comes back up, taps entry, and hits stop loss because it's already seen a reaction. If you want to be risky, yeah, you can maybe split your entries. So you can have 2 trades, one from the fib, and you can have one from your original entry and go like that. So even if this one does hit stop loss and taps your entry, you know, you're still gonna make a little bit of money back or, you know, break even potentially. But personally, what I'd do is I'd most likely get, you know, let's say my entry was gonna be up here. I'd get a little bit of a riskier entry and I'll just make sure that price smashes through the fib and taps into our level and it doesn't, you know, bounce and then come to the level. So you just have to be aware of like the confluences around your level. I always enter within price, never outside, but I'll base my entry within price based upon the external confluences like the fib, the ATR, alignment, a news release, maybe even a little EMA. If the EMA is like lining up towards a higher level, I'll go, you know what, I'll enter around the EMA-ish. And here's another example of like a beautiful fib trade and how it doesn't actually line up. See how this one is sort of just outside the price? This is completely fine because it's only like 3 pips, so it doesn't really make a difference. But let's say we did whack on a trade and we entered, you know, mid-price. This one also worked perfectly. But see how this one tapped literally the very high of the level. This is why you don't want to go too low because there's a high chance it can go a little bit higher, tap you out, and then make the move. So I'm a very conservative trader and I'd much rather get safe entries on everything. I'd rather miss the trade and then hit take profit compared to hitting a trade and hitting stop loss. It's not that I'm scared of losses. It's just that I'm conservative and I guess, I don't know, I like to win and I don't like to lose. So yeah, I'd rather get a safer entry and let the trade work. So let's actually keep this fib on and I'll show you guys when I would update the fib and when the fib becomes invalid. So this fib is still completely valid because the 61, you know, was respected. So we could use it again if we wanted to, because currently we've got a nice level here and that is about it really. There's no other levels created. Let's carry on. There's another tap into it and it worked. And that has now broken the fib. So what we do is we draw it to the new low, just like this. And that is now your new fib. And we carry it on. As you can see, it's broken again. We update the fib and we carry on again. But this is again where fib is very subjective. You can draw this big fib, but let's say, you know, price continues respecting the 61 and it goes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. You're now going to have to wait months just for it to come up to a fib level. So this is where you can look at the, not the lower time frames, but the smaller moves. So still stay on the daily, or maybe if you want to go to the 4 hour, I wouldn't recommend anything below that. But I'd stay on the daily and look at these, the smaller, more recent moves. So see how this, like this most recent push down, you could draw a fib of this move and it's still completely valid. That is completely fine. You can have 2 fibs within, well, this zone. And especially if there's a really nice level, for example, and your fib is that big that, you know, nothing lines up, then yeah, of course, draw the smaller term fib. And if something lines up, then go for it. And also some of you guys may be a little bit confused as to why this fib is valid, even though the 61 has been broken. This 61 hasn't been broken. If we go back As you can see, it was respected nicely. When you're drawing the fib, you're only looking for, like when we're talking about invalidated and, you know, validated fibs, you're only looking for the 61 to be broken once we tap this 0. So once we drew it from this 0, anything past here, this is when we're looking for the 61 or whatever to be broken. So if we to update the fib and draw it to the new low, you're looking for anything past this level, and that's when you're looking for levels to be validated, invalidated. So now if it breaks the 61, then would cancel. So let's actually play it forward. As you can see, it respects the 61 nicely, and now it's broken. So now this fib is completely invalid. And then what would we do? We'd just delete this fib and we draw the fib of the move up instead. So see how this move is a very violent move up, and there's not been a single retracement at all. It's just one strict move up. This is when it's a bit tough for us fib guys, because there's no levels to trade off of. So we just have to wait, because as you can see, there's nothing at the 50, nothing at the 61. So now all you have to do is just wait for a new fib to be found. Let's see, we wait. And we can draw a sell fib now. The 61's been broken, and this has actually created some moves on the move down, some levels, sorry, like this one. But again, it doesn't line up with a fib. So now you just play it and you just keep on going. Let's see. So now a 61 level has been made. We can now have a nice sell level we can take a trade off of, and we play it again, and that's it. Respected really nicely. Oh, that's the one we took before actually. And that is pretty much everything to do with the fib. How to set it up, the settings, how to use it, how to identify levels with the fib. There isn't much more you need to know. There might be more intricate, like smaller details that you may find when collecting data and backtesting and using it for yourself. But these are the rules I've created along my journey. So start drawing the fib, start finding some levels, identifying some trades, taking some trades, learning, hop in the Discord, share some setups, and we'll grow together.